Okay.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order, monitoring committee meeting, 10/21 at 3:06 p.m. We'll turn it over to Sharon.
All right. Let me see if I can get this to work right. Okay. So is this window shared? Can you see the monitoring notice, the meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have several reports that we've gotten in from TWC that we were going to go over this afternoon, excuse me. And then a Diaz report for a follow-up on our corrective action plan with ECWAS. Then we have reports from the Workforce Center, and then we also have a report from Child Care Reviews. Trying to keep an eye on the incoming people too. Okay. So the first one, the TWC reviews or the letters are from the review that was in earlier in May. The review period that they covered was March 24 through February 25. So this is the letter on our Child Care Employment Services WIOA that they reviewed. And on this one, there was one finding, which, I think we'd already let y'all know about from the exit reports that we'd had, but they did make it a finding. This is them. We're waiting for a letter from Audit Resolution. We haven't gotten that yet. And then we'll still have to respond to them with the actions we're taking. Another good thing about this letter is that the testing that they did of the DS Smith and Associates for our fiscal and program monitoring, they recertified them. So that's good that they can depend on their monitoring, which would help them to have to monitor less, hopefully. So they can place that reliance on them. So that's good for Diaz. Glad to hear that. So they're recertified on that. As far as the PERTS finding, there should be controls that one piece of it, the PERTS cases, and PERTS is our fraud tracking system that we put like child care payments for, parents, just fraud things, whether it's on provider side or parent side, so that we can investigate those. And then if we need to recoup funding, then that's our tracking system that's shared with the state. So with this one, if you have a case open for more than 90 days, you were supposed to have a case note in there and also explain what is the reason of delay, because, it could be that we have to ask for employer records that we get a subpoena for, if we need to prove that someone was working enough hours or not. So there is that justification that we can go over the 90 days, but we have to note it. And on the case that they were looking at, it did not have that. So again, we learned that when they were here in May, but there was corrections made to our local checklist. So this was the corrective actions that we've already put into place. We also are going to have monthly meetings for the few cases that we do have in PERTS that we're tracking or still investigating, so that we can ensure at the board level that they are making those entries that are required. Just like if the party that needs to pay funds back, that we're recording those payments and things like that. So the PERTS is a recording spot too. So we would just follow up with them each month on whatever cases are still out there. And the state has also been auditing, the actions out there that we do have. And they showed, that we were much improved for June. So Heather was doing a better job at that. So we are starting this November 1st, and Kayla will be the primary person reporting or doing that follow-up with the PERTS on a monthly basis to make sure we're all in line. And like I said, we'll still be expecting our letter from Audit Resolution, in which we'll share these same steps. And I'm sure once we have our first meeting or something, we may have to provide that information to them too, to clear this finding. But I mean, it was an awesome review if that's the only thing they could find. Wasn't no disallowed meal cost for the board or anything like that. Yay. So it was excellent. Really, it was an excellent review. So kudos to the Workforce Center and childcare, on their other features and being able to work with DS Smith and Associates for their reviews. That we did very well on it. So one little finding was great. We also had, any questions on that one before I go to the next next letter? Not hearing any. Okay. All right, this ain't working the way I wanted it to. There were a few areas of concern on this one as well. For the first time, the state tested the RECE program, which is the Reemployment Services and Eligibility Assessment. So they noted that there was 3 methods of communication that were not being used or documented. So that was one thing we had to tighten up on with our RECE clients. And then also a form that we're not completing and submitting to TWC. So it's definitely something that they will review that the next time they come see us in May. Another area of concern was a single audit. We do have DS Smith Associates do our single audit review and what they do is the reports that come from Rolling Plains and from Equus, they review their audits to make sure, that they're in compliance with all the regulations that are needed. And they just don't have it as a separate document that we then would sign and review with the board. It's kind of all inclusive into their audit. So that's probably something that we'll be tweaking as soon as we find more information on that, is exactly what they expect of us on the single audit reviews. So it's not that we're not doing it or they're not doing it. It's just a matter of how we're reviewing it and noting that it's been reviewed. If that makes sense.
And the fact that I signed the report and we put corrective action plans in place and all those other things, that didn't convince them that we looked at the report and read it. But whatever.
Yeah.
So,
because we do have them do the data integrity report, which is still a different type of report, but it's still looking at a lot of the financial information. And Lisa and I do sign off on that and present it to the board to let you know that we're going to continue to renew contracts with both of those subrecipients. But this is still just a little different piece that they had to bring out. So we'll fix what needs to be. The next one is, sorry, this one is data validation. So this one is a management letter, that the scope of the review, that they looked at data from July of 23 through March of 24. So it's old data, but we have to have the supporting document of data that we've keyed in and that's been reported to Department of Labor. So this one did well. There was only a few minor areas that might need some tightening on the Equus side. These are on the WIOA dislocated worker, adult and youth cases. So this one on the adult case, the date of program exit. So like if someone finishes their MSU classes on December 3rd, does their timesheet for attendance match December 3rd? And we put December 3rd in the system as the last day. So that's where our supporting document really has to match up to what we're ending in the system. So it's mainly tied to training services. And it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to get. Sometimes, we've supported them all this time and they just won't turn in that last time sheet, maybe of attendance. So I can see it's challenging, but that's just something we need to be more aware of. And for the dislocated worker, it really was the same thing. Of course, it was only 2 exits. So one of them did not match up on the exit date. So it's got to match the document in the file to what we've keyed in the system. But the youth was good. No issues on the youth. So again, very minor of all the things that they were testing for. And then we had the matching supporting documentation. Just those 2 areas we might just need to strengthen up a little bit. But that again was a good review. review. So any questions on data validation? Okay. This one was the SNAP, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. It has to be a separate report. So on this one, it was also a good review. They did not have any issues or anything like that. Again, they were reviewing a period of March through February, and this is what they had done in May when they visited. So no issues there. Great. Thank y'all for that great review as well, Equus. Next, I'm going to go to this one. This one just got, what, a couple of days ago or last week. And this is State Monitor Advocacy for Migrant Seasonal Farm Workers. And they visited in April? No. When was that? I forget.
Gosh,
It was a fast return,
June.
so it must have been September or
I think it
August.
was in June.
Was it June?
I can't remember.
I don't know. Anyway.
September.
Is it September?
September. Okay, thank you. But again, this was the first time that they have ever reviewed us, and it's not like our area is high on migrant seasonal farm workers. But they came and they did some training, and we learned a lot of stuff. But on this first preview, they listed areas of concern. And some of them, they told us about then. That was our first exposure to it. So we've already taken steps to rectify some of these things that we didn't know we were supposed to be doing. So we had deficiencies in self-monitoring and documentation, complaint system deficiencies. I thought there was another one. Oh, gaps in policies and procedures, and then this agricultural recruitment system. So most of that was all foreign to us. Again, they came and did some training, but they're still saying that there's more training, that they're not the ones that'll be doing it. It'll still be another party that'll be coming and doing this. But Lisa, I'm gonna let you respond to anything else on this.
Well, of course, I got this report on Monday. And again, when they initially came, they indicated that they were, gonna visit offices across the state. And they were just coming in basically for, to kind of get a baseline. And it wasn't an official monitoring. There weren't going to be any basically findings or anything like that. They were just trying to get a baseline, because apparently this is something that the state of Texas has supposed to have been doing all along. And again, I've been here 27 years, and this is the first visit that I'm aware that they've ever come out to the offices to monitor these migrant seasonal farm workers, which we do not have a lot of those. Historically, we've not ever had a lot of those. And specifically, then the supervisor over the state employees, she voiced concern then, of course, when I got this report, just as I did, because yes, they noted it as area of concerns, and they said that they would be getting back with me for me to give a response. And I was like, well, we've never been trained on this program. And so you indicated that there was going to be no findings, and we still need training. There's training that needs to be done on this program. So nothing is kind of in concrete yet, whether this is going to be findings or not, because the state merit staff, they actually, or the TWC employee that monitors all of the TWC staff, she voiced the same kind of concerns. And so they've had some meetings this week, and they're going to get back to us on this report to let us know if this is really what's going to happen, or they're kind of reevaluating the whole process. because it just, none of this kind of went the way it was supposed to. So just to say that, of course, I was not very happy when I got this report, because it looks like it, that we're not doing what we're supposed to. And of course, we weren't, because we didn't know we were supposed to do these things. So they actually had even put job orders in the system to hire a person to be over the migrant seasonal farm worker, and put those on hold unbeknownst to me or anybody at the contract level. So there's a lot of miscommunication in this whole process. So more to come on this, but we wanted to be transparent and show you all the report and let you know. But again, we're, whether it's going to come back is really a monitoring, and be on us as a negative hit, which is what I was concerned with, is yet to be determined, by those at the state level. So just full transparency there.
Yeah. But again, it's just areas of concern. It's not findings. So it's just things we can strengthen once we have that training.
Yeah.
So, but it was good training. Well, we did have at least the exposure to it. So any other questions on that one? Okay. All right. The next one I wanted to present was when the program review was done by D.S. Smith Associates, there were some repeat items and findings on Equus for the choices in the SNAP programs. So I had, Lisa and I discussed it, and we had Diaz go back and do a review after Equus had put certain things in place just to see if it was, satisfying the issues. So they were on a corrective action plan. So I had them go back and review, but and they just looked at June and July data, since those were after the other period, and we're still having problems. So again, there's not a big caseload that they're looking at. So any issue will show to be, being such small numbers, it's going to have a big impact on the percent. So for these, for the SNAP cases, the participation hours don't match the attendance tracking. It's kind of like that data validation for WIOA. If we're keying participation hours into work in Texas, then your timesheet or your supporting document has to have the same hours. So that's something that they look at. So with this one, there was still 2 cases out of the 8. So that was a 25% error rate. So we're still having issues there. And Rachel, our reviewer on this, she even gave recommendations for action. So, we passed this on to Equus, about certain steps that we wanted them to take for this. So we've got retraining for those issues of that data entry and reviewing those documents, and then more controls and monthly audits and error tracking so that we can get a tighter grip on that. And then, of course, we're going to be reviewing it again on the next program review, which would be towards the end, or excuse me, the beginning of the year, to get ready for next TWC visit. The other thing with SNAP was a reconsideration, the 1817 reconsideration. There's a certain way it has to be recorded into work in Texas. So there were 2 out of 6 files that did not follow the instructions that are needed. And that's a 33% error rate. And again, Rachel gave us some actions for steps to take to get past this error and help improve that. Next, on the choices, timely and reasonable attempt was not followed on 2 of the 10 files, so that was a 20% error rate. And again, we had recommendations of actions to be taken. And then there was one area of concern, but it wasn't above a 10% penalty not initiated timely, excuse me. So again, they will be looking at these at the beginning of the year, whenever Diaz comes and looks at our program stuff again. But in the meantime, Crystal and Sandy have submitted some additional things to us to respond to this audit. And we will see where it goes from here. So any questions or anything Sandy or Crystal wants to add? Don't have to. I was just asking. All right. Not hearing anything. Then that is the end of my Talking Pony show. So the next one will be Darla. And maybe Darla's stuff has something built in there on that. I don't know.
Alrighty.
Anything, Darla?
So this review looks pretty good. Everything fell in the 90 percentile range for the final accuracy. I really think that our exits are really helping a lot that we're having for all the reviews. I will note that the case note is still starting out pretty low. I know Sandy has gotten with their staff to discuss that whenever I do the review, it's gonna be like the 20th of the month or later. So they should have already done their first contacts. So I'm hoping that the next following months will be better. But everything else doesn't have any trends that look like they need to be addressed that much. Reese, I have done the second review. I've done the exit on it and looking for corrections. I will say that the initial review, the percentage was almost higher than the final review last time. So it's looking much better. Any questions?
So do you see any of these geared towards the SNAP issues or the choices issues? Would it be the non-co-op? or
Well, the
even work
non-co-op
activity?
does I do look at the TRA. And on the SNAP work activities, I do look at the 1817. And on this one, I also have a separate tab that I've created that I look at the hours.
Okay. So for those issues that Rachel had noted on her review. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The issue with the non-cooperation review, that is such a timely, sensitive issue. Basically, customers, they have to be penalized timely. By the time Darla does the review, unfortunately, those errors can't be corrected. I mean, we're talking just a matter of days that those penalties have to be keyed in. So again, I know Darla reviews the timely reasonable process, SNAP non-co-op. That is why that SNAP non-co-op is at 92% because some of those cases, of course, couldn't be corrected because of the timeline.
Yeah, used to under Twist, you could review them on Friday and catch a lot of stuff because our non-cooperations didn't go over until a Friday night tape match, and now they go over nightly. So no matter when I review them, they can't be fixed.
Okay. Let's go start before then. Okay. Any other questions for Darla or for the Workforce Center? All right. Next, I have childcare report, and I believe I did see Tiffany online.
You need me to pull it up or you-
Just showing the report.
I'm in Donna's office. so that way I could be on camera. We did our report for March because we have not had time with the new system coming up to do final QA. So I just started, we've already done January and February, so I went ahead and just did March. So the total cases reviewed were 151. And the average monthly accuracy rate was 97% with 0 disallowed cost.
Okay. And what would be your normal report if you were all caught up?
How far behind would you be if we were all caught up?
How far behind are you?
How
Like-
far?
Like how far, like if we were caught up,
Mhm.
what month would we have done today? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yeah. Would it be September data, I guess, since
September,
this
October.
is October?
This is October, so yeah, it would have been September data.
Okay.
So we have started working on it. It's just not as quick now as we would be doing it if we were caught up.
Do you by chance know a time frame as to when it may be caught up? Sorry, putting you on the spot here.
No, you're good. It's kind of hard to say, but I'm trying to get there, if that makes sense, because I'm the one who does it. So now that,
We had 2 people training, so for most of the year, Tiffany had 3 caseloads that she was handling on her own. So since then, she still kind of has 1 caseload. The other 2 we've given to our other ones. So she's in the process of starting to do them again. It's just she did not have time for them with the new system, the errors that we have in the new system with trying to train the new people to do it.
Because I know you had how many new case managers over there?
Well, we had 2 and
what'd she
then
say?
how many?
How many new ones?
We
Case
had
managers?
2, then they kind of quit.
In 2 years, we've had 4.
Yeah, in 2 years, we've had 4.
And I know it takes a while to learn as well.
It usually takes anywhere between 90 to 120 days. Oh, we've had 6 in the last 2 years. So it usually takes anywhere between 90 to 120 days to train someone. One of our recent ones is still in training and she's been here.
Almost 120 days.
It's over 120 days, I think. I think it's over 120 days. She's still been here, but she's still in training right now.
And help me to remember. Because this is for final QA or is this
This is
prelim QA?
this is final QA. So they-
Cassie is doing the prelim part of it, so
hers is called.
hers is done. Hers is caught up because hers has to be caught up, the prelim
Mhm.
portion, or we wouldn't be able to
Enter.
enter the stuff into the system.
Right. And I know that prelim is more of an area that definitely would catch errors that could be for disallowed cause.
Oh, yeah, prelim is where they catch the errors and it gets sent back to the caseworkers to correct. Then once they correct those errors, then it goes to final QA.
That's prelim.
Well, what did I say?
You said final.
Oh, that's
You're
what I
talking
meant.
about prelim.
I meant prelim, sorry. Prelim is where they catch the errors,
Mhm.
send it to the caseworker corrects them and then sends it back.
Okay, thanks for that refresher. Okay, does anybody else have questions for childcare?
So Donna, for the prelim, then are you saying Cassie is more current than
Yes,
what?
she is current, so she's
okay.
caught up. It's just Tiffany hasn't been able to do final QA.
Okay,
Cassie does the prelims within a 2 days time frame because that's got to be get back to the case managers, so
Okay.
that way they can contact the clients and the providers and all of that.
okay. So then corrections are obviously made more timely than 6 months or 7 months.
Definitely.
then.
So that,
Okay.
so basically all the work is already done.
Okay,
So all the corrections have already been made and the work's already in the computer. So we're not waiting 6 months to enter
No.
a client into the system. Everything's already entered. It's just, yeah, it's just basically Tiffany going back and making sure that prelim was caught, that no errors were missed, and that everything was entered and done.
okay. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Would you, a question,
Yeah.
so on your on our monitoring report, would you guys prefer us to do it at the prelim level?
Because we can do
Cause we
that.
can do that. We can make this form at our prelim versus final QA. Would you
It
rather
might
have,
show what the, you know, because this always is going to show, well, I guess that 97% shows probably the
Prelim.
prelim and then the final is 100. And that's obviously what we're all going for if there can be corrections made. So because you are so behind, and I know that it's really, there's a lot of internal things going on, a lot of moving parts. I understand with the new system that rolled out and billing and lots of things happening that you're trying to stay on top of. So it might be more beneficial to show the prelim so
Okay.
that, you know, we've
do
got
that.
more timely data.
Yeah,
And
then
then
you may be able to pinpoint or say, okay, well, this person always has problems with this particular action to know where more training may be needed or something.
that's what,
Because
And
that's what
that's
happens
on
at
that-
prelim.
right, and that's what happens at prelim, and that's also another process that my office is going through. Is that we are updating because of the new system, we're updating the prelim forms, that way. It shows the caseworker what percentage of their work that they're making errors on. And it also allows Tiffany as their manager to go back and say, okay, all of their errors are in this category. So that person needs more training on that. And so that is another process that we are actually trying. We had it before, but because of the new system, we're updating all of those forms.
I think that would be beneficial because then you could,
Mhm.
you know, you could show that to the monitoring committee that specifically this is what you're working with. And also, you know, we're concerned that there's no disallowed cost, obviously, you know, that's a huge concern. But maybe showing some of those other things might be a better picture, of actually what you're doing.
So definitely the next monitoring committee will have updated numbers for prelim,
Mhm.
that are all the way updated. Even if final QA is not caught up, we'll have all of those prelim numbers, and then we'll also provide the final QA numbers on what we do have. And then hopefully the percentage of those errors per caseworker.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
that sounds good. So is there any other discussions from anyone? Not hearing any. Our next meeting will be determined by email poll. I'll send out and ask what days and times work for y'all. Lisa, our next board meeting is when? Not this week, but the one after that.
December 11th.
December 11. So it could be that, you know, if we have something else to report on, which we should, then it'll be that beginning of either 8th, 9th, or 10th, most likely.
Yes, because I should get the audit resolution for the parts.
Yeah.
They said I would have that within 45 days. So
True. Yeah, or we have to respond within 45 days, once
Yeah.
we get it.
once I get the report.
Yes. Okay. Rhonda, guess back at you.
Did you say December the 11th was the next monitoring? This
Board
the
meeting.
Is the next.
Board meeting.
We'll do a poll to see when the monitoring meeting will be that week. I usually always try to plan it before the board meeting. We have our state
Sounds
conference
good.
that week before.
And we'll see everyone in 2 days.
Yes, yes.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll adjourn the meeting, 3:41 PM. Thank you,
Thank you all
everyone,
for your
for
time.
coming.
Yes, thank you for your time.